Hello, one-alls, my view of that time reincarnated slime, and I gotta say, I'm a little conflicted about exactly where to start this video, because on one hand, we have freaking Veldora the Storm Dragon pulling out Street Fighter moves, spanning the Hadoken over and over and over again, and then finishing off with a freaking Kamehameha, the ultimate anime move. Oh my god, not see that coming. I seriously didn't see that coming. I mean, I was expecting him, pull off anime moves or moves reminiscent of anime, and then Rimuru might say, oh, that's the attack from blank blank, because they couldn't actually say the name of the attacks for copyright reasons. But no, they actually said Kamehameha, and apparently they actually need permission from the creators of Dragon Ball to do that. That's why I actually see Dragon Ball listed in the credits of this episode, so... Wow, that was unexpected. Definitely unexpected, and I freaking loved it. But anyway, on the other hand, we also have Malim revealing that she was never brainwashed. Oh my god, who'd have thunk it? Me. I thunk it. Obviously, I read light novel, so I saw this coming. Though, weirdly enough, in light novel, this isn't all that big of a twist. Not really all that surprising. I mean, during the meeting between Leon and Guy before Wallbridge started, Leon straight up said, yeah, there's no way Clayman is brainwashing Malim, because Malim has ultimate skill and Clayman does not, and nobody with an ultimate skill can be affected by non-ultimate skills, so Malim just, going along with it for whatever reason, she's messing with Clayman, and yeah, as it turns out, he was right. She was just trying to mess with Clayman, trying to figure out exactly who it was that was backing Clayman, trying to figure out who it was that Clayman was reporting to, because she learned that Clayman was planning on starting a war between humanity and monsters, and was going to put Rimuru right in the middle of it to, get him wiped out and cause a whole bunch of chaos, anarchy, and whatever, so he'd go in, and wipe out the other side, or, benefit from the war somehow, some way. And so she decided that she had to stop this no matter what the cost. And while the focus this episode is on the cost to carry on, because, Malim beat him within an inch of his life and then literally wiped his kingdom off the map, it also can't be forgotten that Malim could have shown up in Tempest when Falmus was attacking them. She probably could have saved Shion and everyone else from being killed, but she didn't. I mean, did she just not know about Clayman's plan until it was too late, or did she know and do nothing? Did she stay by his side for the sake of her mission, for the sake of figuring out who it was that was backing Clayman, who it was that was, actually targeting Rimuru? Because... if so, that just becomes such a very, very dark scenario. I mean, she knew that Rimuru's people were going to be killed, but she did nothing? I mean, did she think that Rimuru could succeed where she failed and actually managed to properly revive them from the dead? Or is it possible that Malim thought that Rimuru would experience true pain, true suffering, true loss for the sake of becoming less soft, for the sake of realizing that, there are times when he had to murder all of his enemies in cold blood for the sake of protecting what truly mattered to him? I mean, I'm not sure. If so, that's a very, very dark turn for Malim to take, though it's very, very obvious that she cares a great deal for Rimuru. I mean, seriously, the way she values the dragon knuckles that Rimuru gave to her, the gift from her bestie Foresti, is just so utterly, utterly adorable, and just a really great sign for how much she really does care about Rimuru. I mean, it was said by Veldora this episode that despite the fact that Malim has lived for centuries, millennia, she is still essentially a child. She is still essentially incredibly, incredibly immature, and she has experienced true pain in the past. When she lost her friend, her little dragon buddy who was murdered by that evil kingdom, she went utterly, utterly insane and destroyed everything around her just because she was in so much pain, so much suffering. Then once it was all said and done, she was forced to watch her little buddy turn into a chaos dragon, turned basically a zombie before her eyes, and that, oh god, that must have been so awful for her to experience, and now she doesn't want to ever go through that again, so she's doing whatever she needs to for the sake of Rimuru, for the sake of making sure that her bestie Foresti survives for as long as possible, and that's really why she did all of this. And I mean, it's tragic and it's heartbreaking and it's dark, but I can't say I hate Malim for it, and I'm actually really proud of her for managing to, keep a straight face throughout all of this process while she was being kicked around by freaking Clayman again and again and again. Actually, fun fact, in the light novel, Malim actually explains that she had to eat bell peppers constantly so that she could keep a straight face, and that when Clayman first put the necklace on her, she would intentionally lower all of her defenses, all her barriers, all her protections, for the sake of making Clayman think it was working, when really it would not work in a million freaking years. Oh, poor Clayman, poor Clayman. But anyway, back to this episode, Veldora shows up! Yay! As it turns out, Rimuru's ultimate skill, Veldora the Storm Dragon, allows him to summon Veldora, but also allows Veldora to teleport to him wherever he is in the world, even though he's in a separate dimension that's guarded by a barrier. So, interesting. Very, very interesting. It also means that Rimuru, will never really be at a disadvantage in any fight, because he can always summon Veldora to have his back, whenever he needs him. And Veldora's reason for showing up is actually more interesting in light novel and manga, because not only is he missing the final volume of the series, but Rimuru actually swapped the covers of the final volume with the first volume that sells at work, just to utterly confuse Veldora, and basically as a prank. Wow, that's mean. That is seriously mean. I mean, Veldora, sells at work too. I've heard it's a very good series, but still he wants to know how the series he was reading is actually going to end, so he teleported over here to ask him about it. While Rimuru is in the middle of a freaking battle against a demon lord, mind you. Oh, I love you, Veldora. I freaking love you. Though, in the light novel, there's actually another reason why he showed up, though it wasn't actually shown here, so maybe next episode? Curious about that. But anyway, though, Veldora is very excited for the chance to fight his brother's daughter. And yes, it is finally confirmed Veldora is the uncle of Malim, which, yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. I mean, I said in my last video because, it was kind of obvious given that the other true dragon said that she was the sister to Veldora, and it was said, before that Malim's father was a true dragon. There are only 4 true dragons, so it makes sense for, the true dragon that's Malim's father to be Veldora's brother. I actually saw a lot of people online who were wondering if, maybe Veldora was Malim's father, which, like I said, would make a lot of sense. They act a lot alike. In fact, it was even said in the manga that Veldora's brother actually kept Malim away from him because he was afraid that Veldora would be a bad influence on her. Oh, I love it. I freaking love it. And it's also definitely worth noting that Veldora realized in a single instant that Malim was not actually being brainwashed, but he just wanted the chance to, try out fighting in his new human body. And just seriously, Rimuru, Veldora noticed it in a freaking instant. She at least noticed that the guy in the lion's mask was Carrion, and Raphael tried very, very hard to explain both those facts to you, and you just freaking blew her off. Are you kidding me? Learn to listen to Raphael! Oh my god, honestly, one of my favorite parts of the episode was just the exasperated sigh that Raphael kept producing every time, Rimuru spoke. Just it's such a small detail, but it was just so hilarious and so perfect and just so utterly human of Raphael. And then Rimuru goes checking the other fights, and they are going surprisingly well. Ronga has completely beaten 9 heads, but she's not actually able to surrender or stop fighting because Clayman is controlling her, even though she has gone well past her limits. So Rimuru is able to, undo the brainwashing, undo the control on her, and then she immediately goes back into a cute little fox. Oh, she's adorable. She's so utterly adorable. And I just love that Ronga actually gets jealous of Rimuru, praising her, calling her cute and all that. Oh, that's just so adorable. And then, Rimuru puts 9 heads on Ronga, says basically, protect this little fox for me. And I just really have to show this illustration from light novel here. It is just, oh my god, they are adorable. They are such an adorable duo, and I freaking love them. Though a slightly less adorable scene was when Ronga's companions dealt with 9 heads companions. I mean, that was violent. Very, very violent. As, basically they almost tore them to pieces with their teeth. Oh my god, that was unnerving. Very unnerving. And then we have Bretza, who very, very easily managed to beat Viola, which I think means that Rimuru is actually a better puppet maker than Clayman is, given that his puppet beat Clayman's puppet. Huzzah! And really, though, there is not a single scratch on Bretza. Very, very impressive. In fact, before Bretza actually joined the fight, Guy thought to himself that she was just as powerful as Ronga or Shion. So, yeah, a true powerhouse. And what's actually more impressive than all of that is the fact that Bretza is trying to outsmart Guy, trying to basically find a loophole in the deal she made to forever serve Ralmers, basically saying, Rimuru, I'm gonna give you all this treasure in exchange, maybe could you find a spot for me and Ralmers in Tempest, because that way, I can serve you and Ralmers at the same time, and I won't break my deal to this super terrifying primordial demon who could wipe out all of humanity with a flick of his wrist. I mean, that took guts. That took serious guts to try and outsmart freaking Guy like that. And I was impressed. I was very, very impressed by that. And then finally we have Shion, who's doing a very impressive job against Clayman the freaking Demon Lord. Good for you, Shion. Even when Clayman uses his marionette dance, summoned 5 puppets, each of which has a soul embedded inside of them. But yeah, this doesn't really stop Shion for all that long, or even for 2 seconds, because as it turns out, Shion's sword does physical and spiritual damage, which, Clayman didn't really plan for. He didn't put any, spiritual defenses into the puppets. Rimuru actually says in the light novel that he cheaped out. But there's a good reason for that. There's a very, very good reason for that. There are almost no spiritual-based weapons in the entire world. It is an incredibly, incredibly rare trait. And Rimuru's like, well, I know a human who has one, Hinata. No, Rimuru, no, bad Rimuru. Hinata is a very, very, very bad point of reference. I mean, she is, basically one of the top 3, top 5 strongest humans in the entire world. And she's being backed by the largest religious organization in the West, so yeah, she has all the resources she could ever want. Her weapons are literally the best you can possibly find in the freaking world. And then as Clayman just continues to lose his freaking mind, he decides to use his demon marionette skill to brainwash Shion into serving him and becoming a new finger of his 5 fingers. And yeah, surprisingly, no one this does not work at all. I mean, you could say it's because Shion's super tough, super strong, super stubborn, any of that, but as it turns out, the reason is because she died and came back to life. And when she did, she gained the skill Complete Memory, which basically stores her memories inside the astral plane, inside her astral plane, allowing her to more or less think with her soul, so she cannot be brainwashed at all, no matter what skill you have, which, oh, that's impressive. Very, very impressive. And just makes her an utterly perfect match against Clayman. And then, Clayman just goes even crazier as he decides to become his true self, the mad hero, the crazed clown. And I'm seeing a lot of people online who are, annoyed by this development, basically saying, oh, Clayman was such a cool villain, he was so awesome, he was so sophisticated and elegant and all that, but now he's just, a bruiser knuckle duster like so many other boring anime villains. And I really need to disagree with that, because it's so fascinating who Clayman is as a person, Deep down, he is this crazy, insane fighter like this, but he put on the persona of being, so elegant, so refined, for the sake of being accepted and respected as a demon lord, even though he felt such an overwhelming inferiority complex because he was so much weaker than the other jesters, and he wanted so desperately to be as strong as they were, but he just couldn't. So instead he became, elegant, sophisticated. He took on this whole persona as, oh, Clayman, the richest demon lord in the world. Fancy, so very, very fancy. And that was just, so at odds with who he really was. And, now he's his true self. He doesn't even call himself a demon lord anymore, because Clayman the Demon Lord is an entirely separate entity from the crazed clown he is right now, from his true self. I just freaking love that. But yeah, even in this form, he can't really do much against Shion. Though a very interesting detail in the light novel is that Shion was able to break Clayman's weapons because of her Master Chef skill. Yeah, that might sound utterly insane, and believe me, it is, but Master Chef has the abilities guarantee result in optimal action, basically meaning that every one of Shion's attacks are a critical success. So, yeah, that's a broken skill. That is such an utterly broken skill, and I freaking love it. But anyway, then Clayman's defeated, and Malim reveals that she, wasn't actually being brainwashed, and Carrion's not even dead. Huzzah! And Carrion is still really mad at Malim for all the awful things she did to him, but Rimuru pipes in, basically calms down the situation and says, oh, don't worry about that. I captured most of Clayman's army to use as forced labor to rebuild your capital, and what's more, I even captured all of Clayman's treasure troves so I can build you a new capital. I can afford it. I can pay for it. Oh, I love it. He's literally brought to tears over this. He's like, Mr. Rimuru, I'm so thankful. Thank you so much. I can't believe you go so far for me. And while this was certainly kind, it wasn't necessarily entirely selfish on Rimuru's part, because let's not forget, there are a whole bunch of vegetables and fruits and all that can't be grown in large numbers in Tempest, but they can be grown in the Beast Nation. So forming a really good relationship with the Beast Nation, with Carrion, basically means that Rimuru can get as many fruit and vegetables as he wants for, really good price. And that's exactly what Tempest needs right now. Huzzah! And even Yi is impressed by Rimuru's planning here, as he was wondering why Rimuru didn't just kill all the enemy soldiers he captured. And then, seriously, he says, no wonder Black is interested in you. And then Rimuru doesn't, ask any follow-up questions like, who the freak is Black? This is seriously Rimuru's biggest problem. He never asks any follow-up questions. He never listens to anybody. If he did, he'd probably already be the king of the Demon Lords by this point. Anyway, as they're all having this whole long conversation, Clayman is, just kind of casually bleeding out on the floor in front of them, and they aren't really paying all that much attention to him. They're basically viewing him as a bug on the floor, and that's, Oh god, it's just so sad, so pathetic. I mean, like I said before, Clayman has always had an inferiority complex, and he just wanted so desperately to attain power, become a true demon lord, so that he could stand shoulder to shoulder with his friends, with the other jesters, and he just never could. And now, as he's laying here, as he's dying, he thinks, all I want is a chance to be useful to them. I have to go back to them. I have to tell them what I saw here. I have to tell them about the true dangers of this slime named Rimuru. And then, the world answers his prayers. He's allowed to evolve into a true demon lord because he's killed just so very, very many thousands of people. Seriously, he's bought literally like 10,000 slaves and murdered every last one of them in his attempt to become a demon lord, but that wasn't actually enough. You also need desire, strong, strong desire. For Rimuru, his desire to bring his friends, his town people back to life. For Clayman, it's desire to be useful to his friends, to return to his friends. And he evolves into a true demon lord. Yay! I mean, obviously this is bad, but it looks so, so freaking amazing. I'm so excited for the chance to see Rimuru and the true awakened Clayman fight with everything they have. Oh, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be a lot of freaking fun. Though Rimuru doesn't really seem all that worried, as it actually says, this is all going exactly according to his plan, so he knew this was going to happen. He actually wanted this to happen. He wanted Clayman to awaken into a true demon lord. Oh, Rimuru, you are definitely playing with fire, my friend. You are definitely playing with fire. Though you currently have Malim, Veldora, maybe even Guy at your disposal right now, so yeah, even if things go really, really badly, they can come in and lend you a helping hand and you won't necessarily die. Though I do love that I told Carrion, you can't help me with this. I need to fight on my own. I need to show everyone here that I am a true demon lord. Oh, I love that moment. I freaking love that moment. Oh yeah, and we also get to see the scene where Yuki first recruits Clayman and the Jesters for his plan of world domination. Yes, that's Yuki's big game plan to take over the entire world. In fact, light novel, Clayman even says Yuki, or the boy, he's only referred to as the boy in light novel, the boy's plan was basically to treat the entire world as his own game, and while there were plenty of obstacles in our way, that just made it all the more fun. Oh, I really do like Yuki as a villain sometimes. He's just, in it for the laughs, in it for the lulz. He wants to have a good old grand time, I think. I'm honestly not sure. I'm really, really not sure. And, in exchange for taking over the entire world, Yuki promised to return Clayman's former master to him to bring him back to life. And that's, a fairly good deal because Clayman really wanted him back, really wanted Kazlam, I think that's his name, to come back to him. And so did the rest of the Jesters. So he shook his hand, he agreed on it. And I don't think he really regretted it. I think his big regret right now was the fact that, he didn't rely more on the Jesters, didn't rely more on Yuki, and wanted to go out on his own, wanted to prove to all of them that he could be useful, that he was just as valuable as the rest of them were, even though he wasn't as strong as they were. And it's not going well for him. It's very, very much not going well for him. But yeah, please leave the comments down below what things happen. Rimuru versus Clayman, round 2. I mean, they're both true awakened demon lord at this point, so yeah, that could be interesting. Could definitely be interesting. I mean, I don't think Clayman could actually win this fight unless he's obtained some truly, truly amazing ultimate skills, but, maybe he'll become strong enough to manage to escape on his own and, report back to the rest of them. I could definitely see that being the case. What do you think of Malim's plan to, basically try to stick by Clayman's side long enough to figure out who exactly he was working for? Because, yeah, the plan didn't really accomplish all that much. I mean, yeah, she lured Clayman out here to the Walpurgis Council, where he's able to, beat him up within an inch of life, kill him, whatever he wants to do to him, but they don't really have any real answers over who exactly Clayman is serving, so yeah, she kind of destroyed the entire Beast Nation for almost nothing at this point. And do you think that Malim was aware that Falmus was about to attack Tempest and did nothing? Did she really just allow all those people to be killed for the sake of protecting Rimuru, for the sake of making Rimuru tougher? I mean, I'm really just not sure about that. I'm really, really not sure. But anyway, please leave me all down below. Be sure to like, subscribe to the next video, and until then, peace!